Hello and welcome to English Language Shelf again. Today we will discuss and learn about articles. First thing first, let's understand what articles mean generally. Well, generally, articles are those words that determine the standard of nouns. In other words, they are actually also called determiners. So they introduce or describe or modify a noun or a pronoun. There are two types of articles common. One is definite article and the other is indefinite article. The definite article is the or the. The pronunciation varies, but the, the or the depends on the next word. Whether the next word starts with a vowel, then it's the. If it is a consonant, then it is the. The indefinite article are either a or an, both, and actually these both are indefinite articles, but it depends on the sentence that this indefinite article, if it precedes a vowel sound, then we use an. If it does not precede a vowel sound, then it is a. So definite article, it makes the noun something particular. It specifies it. It gives it a definite identity. It particularizes. But the indefinite article, it doesn't particularize. It just tells you something in general and it doesn't specify it. Although we can say that it can specify with respect to number, for example, a pen, an apple. A pen means one pen, an apple means one apple. It can, specify in that sense. Yet, commonly, it doesn't have that definiteness as the pen. But you see, when it comes to particularizing something in terms of number, then we can figure it out ourselves. Furthermore, to understand the general understanding, the general idea, let's look at some examples. For example, give me the ball. So when someone says the ball, so the listener and the speaker, they know very well that which ball are they talking about. So we are just assuming that they were speaking about baseball. So let's say the speaker said, "Give me the ball," and the listener knows, okay, what ball is the listener? Sorry, is the speaker uh, telling him or her to give? So let's we assume that it's baseball. But what if we have something like, "Give me a ball" or "Give me an egg"? Well, here we can't say that, okay, which ball. I mean, it can be any ball. It can be a cricket ball, it can be a football, it can be a baseball. But a ball, it actually tells you, okay, give me one ball. But it doesn't specify. It just generalizes. Okay, give me one ball. It generalizes, but it doesn't specify that which ball. Similarly, give me an egg. An egg. I mean, one egg, but which egg specifically is someone asking me to give? I don't know. It could be standard white egg or Nestle egg or organic egg or omega-3 egg whatsoever. So this is the difference between specific and unspecific, definite and indefinite, particular and general articles. Now let's dive further deeper to distinguish between the two types of articles and what roles they play and when to use them, when not to use them, and much more. So let's mind our English, guys. Let's move on. So, what are the rules of using articles? You see, there are total 6 rules for each of them, and the left hand side is about definite article. We know that definite article is the or the, and the right hand side is for indefinite article, a or an. I would suggest you to pause this video and go through all of them in your convenience. Okay, I will also explain you now. But if you want to pause the video, you can do that. It was just my suggestion. So rule number one, you see, common nouns. It can also be, common nouns if it has that plural sense. So you have to use definite article the with common nouns or plural common nouns. But proper nouns do not follow or do not precede. Proper nouns, they do not go with the, means the does not precede proper nouns. However, indefinite articles, yes, singular common nouns always require an article before it. But plural common nouns, they can go with the, or mostly they don't need articles. Okay, plural common nouns, they don't need articles, but singular common nouns, yes, they require articles, indefinite articles. Rule number two, sometimes definite article the, we use it just to generalize a group or a whole class, to generalize the whole group or whole class. For example, the English are industrious. The English, it actually refers to the people of England. Whereas the second rule for indefinite article is that we use them based on the vowel sound of the word. If the word begins with a vowel sound, then we use an. If the word begins with a consonant sound, then we use a. For example, an hour. H, although it's a consonant letter but not a consonant sound. Therefore, an hour. Rule number three, to particularize an uncountable noun, use the. I also made I will also make a video on uncountable nouns, and we will learn about that also. So if you want to particularize an uncountable noun, you have to use definite article the. Whereas rule number three for indefinite article states that if you want to make a proper noun into a common noun, then use a or an if you want to make a proper noun into a common noun. We will look at some examples in the next slide. Rule number four, the is mandatory before a thing which is only one of a kind in the universe. Well, basically, there are things in the universe which are just uh, a kind of monopoly, means there is no substitute of that. For example, there is no substitute of moon, it is in itself. So we can say the moon, the sun, the earth, because it's just one of a kind. However, rule number four of indefinite article states that indefinite articles are used to refer to number like one or each or per. It tells you about number. Rule number five, do not use definite article before all of these, before names of continents, before names of countries, names of states or cities or towns, names of streets, etc. And rule number five of indefinite article states that these often precede descriptive adjectives. Descriptive adjectives, I made a video on adjectives. You can watch that. There is a lecture on my YouTube channel regarding adjectives, and I have mentioned a lot about descriptive adjectives in that video. You can watch that if you are not aware about what descriptive adjectives mean. Last, rule number six of definite article is that you have to use the before names of oceans, names of countries with United States or islands, names of Great Lakes, etc. Well, countries, there are so many countries, but some countries they have this title like United States, for example, United States of America. But in other cases, there is also like United Arab Emirates. So if there is United, then of course we have to use the. And there are some islands which we will also look in examples in the next slide, and mountain ranges, names of group of islands, etc. We will look at some examples later. Rule number six for indefinite article is that you have to use a sometimes before determiners like a few, a little, a lot, a lot of. most, etc. But in the case of many, a or an comes after. Anyways, let's look at some examples so that we can be more clear about these rules. You see these examples. Rule number one was that you have to use the with common nouns. They can be in the sense of plural also. For example, the man, it's a common noun. Man, singular common noun. The girls is plural common noun. The pen, it's a common noun, singular common noun. However, a man, an apple, it actually goes with uh, like mostly singular, always actually singular common nouns. A man, an apple. But tigers, it's actually plural, but proper noun. So we don't need an article. Rule number two, it was about generalizing a whole group. For example, the English are industrious. It refers to the people of England. The honest are respected. Even this is also possible that you can use the plus adjective. Honest, it's an adjective but functioning as a noun, as a group of people who are honest. So therefore, it becomes plural noun. So the honest are respected means honest people are respected often. However, the rule 2 of indefinite article states that you have to use a or an uh, with a word that follows a vowel sound, and the rules about that. For example, an hour ago it has the vowel sound o. So therefore, and. Do you have an umbrella? Uh, um, so a vowel sound, an umbrella. He wants to work in a university. Now, basically, umbrella and university they both have the same letter U, a vowel letter, but the sound actually matters. So it's actually the sound of these words. So you, So university, university begins with the sound U. So that's a consonant sound. So therefore, a university. If you want to learn more about sounds in English language, you have to look at some lecture videos on YouTube about that. I will also plan and try to make a video on that too. Rule number three that you have to use the when it comes to uncountable nouns. For example, please return the money I lent you last week. So money is an uncountable noun. The sugar in your tea is brown. Sugar it's an uncountable noun. The water of the ocean is cold. It's an uncountable noun. Water. Rule number three of indefinite articles like he thinks he is a Shakespeare. Now basically to make proper noun into common noun. Making proper noun into common noun means that's where we use our indefinite article. Shakespeare, it's a proper noun, but we are using it as a common noun in this case. Therefore, he thinks he is a Shakespeare, not the original one, but I mean he thinks like that. She seems to be an American. American is a common noun. A husband must be a bit taller than wife. Husband, it's a common noun. It's just a common expression that a husband must be a bit taller than wife, which mostly women believe should be. I don't know much about that. Anyways, let's move to rule number four. You see, the moon, the sun, the sky. These are one of a kind thing in the universe. There are no substitutes or replications or anything which can replace these things. So therefore, it is compulsory to use definite article with these uh, yeah, one of a kind of a universe things. But rule number four of indefinite article states that it can tell you about numbers. I earned $100. $100 actually means $100. I graduated from high school a year ago. A year ago, 1 year. This car there's a spelling mistake. I'm really sorry about this. Car, C-A-R. We have to delete E. I'm sorry about this, guys. Please. This car goes 50 miles an hour. An hour actually means per hour. Rule number 5. Do not use the. You can see a lot of examples about not using the, when not to use the. The reason why we don't use definite article with these words, because they are proper nouns. They already have their identity in itself. It's not important to use the for specifying it. So I mean, that's the reason we don't. For example, Asia, it's it's something which in itself is independent. We don't need the to specify it. It's already specific when we say Asia. Fine, it's a continent. We can figure it out. Los Angeles, Sydney, Alaska, these are cities or states. So it's understandable. Similarly, names of streets, names of singular lakes, names of mountains. So they are completely specific in itself. Therefore, we don't use the. On the other hand, the rule 5 of indefinite articles stated that we have to use a before descriptive adjectives. For example, he is a good boy. Good descriptive adjective, therefore it is correct. I can see an ice cream shop over there. An ice cream shop. So ice cream shop, ice cream, here it is a descriptive adjective. A shop, but which shop? Ice cream shop. So therefore an ice cream. It's correct to say. What a nice car. It's the same idea that descriptive adjective before descriptive adjective should have indefinite article the. Therefore, it's right to say, what a nice car, man. Last is rule number 6, which states that names of oceans or gulfs or seas and rivers they must go with definite article the. Similarly, names of countries with United States or uh, simply United or even Ireland, they need definite article the. Now, the reason why we need the with these, but not with those in rule number 5. Well, because you see, there are so many things and so many other examples where we find that the names of these, we find them even in other places. For example, I remember the word Atlant- Atlantic. I remember it's also a name of a shop in where I live. It's the name of a restaurant where I live. It's on the ground floor of my building. So I mean Atlantic restaurant. But when we say the Atlantic or the Atlantic, so it specifies. It gives us an idea that actually someone is referring to the Atlantic Ocean. Similarly, New Zealand or the New Zealand, it's an island. The Malta, it's understandable when we say the Malta because it's an island. But if we say Malta, so I mean in it could be something else which some people know the name Malta with reference to something else, maybe with reference to restaurant, with reference to uh, uh, maybe fruit. In I remember in Urdu language we call orange Malta. So it differs. So that is why we use the with these uh, names. Lastly, sometimes we use a or an with words like few, lot, and those that we discussed in the previous slide. You can see number 2 that many a times, like a comes after many. Many a times it was quoted by the teacher. That's also right. Okay, so these are some examples that how to use articles. So that's it. That's all about parts of speech. Next, I will plan to make another video. In fact, I will start another series on uh, vocabulary or maybe sentence structure. I will let you know pretty soon. But that's all for parts of speech. So guys, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon, give it a like. If you have any doubts or would like to share some suggestions, please leave your words in the comment section and forward this lecture to your friends and family. My channel, English Language Shelf. Anyways, goodbye.